Hello, everyone, and welcome to Insider Gaming Weekly. I am, of course, Mike Straw, senior editor here, joined, as always, by fellow senior editor Grant Taylor-Hill, senior producer of the P. Albert Perkins, and the big head honcho himself, the Gong Lord of Insider Gaming, Tom Henderson. Guys,
could you leave bigger pauses?
That was a dramatic pause.
I keep thinking you're forgetting our names.
No, it is intentional. I figured I'd embrace my inner William Shatner today and just do pauses for no reason.
Dramatic effect.
How's everybody doing?
Oh man, it's been going pretty good. It's been kind of slow in the news, I guess, lately.
You deserve it after last week.
Yeah. Last week was wild. Maybe it's the calm before the storm whenever it comes to Gamescom, right? Maybe. But yeah, it's been kind of slow this week, but overall doing good at the end of the day.
How about you, Grant?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm hot though. We've had this debate before. Still didn't buy that air conditioning unit. Supposed to be
Were you gonna do that a month ago?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 33 degrees this weekend, which I think for you guys is that 90s or something? I don't know what that is, but it's hot, man. It's not good weather for gaming because I have a gigantic gaming PC with some very hot components in there, and it's literally like I have such little room. My leg literally like rests against the side of it, and you can just feel the muggy warmth coming out of it. It's horrible.
It sounds like you need to use your millions from Insider Gaming to buy a bigger house.
Sounds like I need to do something like that. Yeah, I need to get moving, or at least an air conditioner.
Yeah, you got to condition the air to cool it down.
Yeah, man.
Tom, how you doing on this lovely Thursday?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Like Grant said, it is a little bit warm, but I do have an air conditioning unit, so I'm pretty chill. I just don't have it in my office, which is a bit of a pain. But yeah, doing well. Like Albert said, it has been a bit of a slow week. And yeah, like you said, we pretty much deserve it after last week, because last week was horrendous on all levels. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this episode. A few things that I'm really looking forward to is our first topic. But more importantly than that, I'm looking forward to seeing what Albert has been playing, because there's been a reoccurring theme on this podcast for a good 20 episodes. And now that is concluded, it's one of the biggest mysteries in gaming at the moment. So I need to figure out what he's been playing.
Before we get into that, the suspense will build. A reminder that this is Insider Gaming Weekly. We come to you live every Thursday around 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m., 8 p.m., depending on the time zone difference in the UK. You can find us every week here on YouTube, on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and more. You can also check out our secondary YouTube channel. I'm really happy about it. If you want to know all of the trailers that have been released, youtube.com/Insider Gaming trailers. You can find out everything there. We have a lot to talk about today. We have Nintendo wanting to make games faster, the great Xbox Game Pass debate that just won't go away, but worth talking about, Subnautica 2's delay and the mess that's happening at the top there at Krafton, Tarkov wipe having people upset, a little bit of fallout here, and then I got an update that people are going to likely be upset about from a certain fan base. But before we get into all that, Tom already alluded to it. It's our favorite segment to start every week, and we're going to kick it off with the man himself. AP, what have you been playing?
And that's just it, man. That's the mystery. And, you know, I must say, I do feel kind of like a lost puppy dog without Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's like, you know, I was going into the week and I was like, man, no more Final Fantasy. Should I just like restart it and start playing it again? And then I can report that I am once again playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But no, I am not actually, of course. I have been playing a lot of Rematch. I love Rematch. It is so good, so competitive. Oh my God, it's incredible. It's really, really good. This is the first soccer game, American, you know, soccer game, whatever you want to call it, if you will,
Football.
that I've actually
American soccer.
that I have actually been into. You know, I've never really been into FIFA. You know, all the years that FIFA's been on, I never really got into it, but I don't know, man. Rematch just has a different vibe to it, bro. You know, I don't know what it is, but I'm locked in. I'm loving every second of it. I've also been playing, dabbled into my backlog a little bit. I've been playing A Plague Tale Requiem. I just got through the first chapter of that. Very good game so far. Continuing, of course, with Innocence.
Games. It was my number one game of 2022.
Wow.
It was.
Wow.
I loved that game.
Oh man, I can't wait. I'm only, like I said, you know, just through the first chapter, so I'm very early on in that game. So a lot of things still have to develop there whenever it comes to that, of course.
Rematches, I'm still hooked. That's basically where I'm at.
Yeah,
I can't seem to get my ranking high enough. I get to my placement matches, and then I always end up losing 2 of the 3. And then I go on a run, get right back, and then lose 2 of 3. Go on a run, and it's frustrating. There's still some things that bother me. There's still some network desyncing issues, and obviously we still don't have a firm update on when crossplay is coming. They're working on it, hopefully soon, because that would really add to it, because, you know, they had such a nice peak at launch of about 100,000 on Steam, way more on console, but it's kind of fallen about 50% or so on Steam.
Okay.
So they know they're working on it. Each game I've played each day, the updates that they push daily has improved the network performance since they use their servers. So we'll see.
I still kind of find, like, whenever you try to connect to a match, it seems like it still takes about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, at least for me anyways.
Yeah, I think roughly about 45 seconds to a minute for me is where I'm at. But I'm kind of in the same boat. That's basically, I've been playing back in Balatro Land as well. Nice. Which is Tom's favorite game. So Tom, what are you playing? Are you in Balatro Land?
No, I'm not actually. I don't know. I feel like I need to change this segment up just for me, because, like, as people, well, you may know this, you may not, but I'm currently in the very early stages of writing my first book, or book.
If it's anything like his articles, then it'll be tough to read.
Oh man. But I'll have ghostwriters, don't worry. But yeah, I'm writing a book on cancelled video games. You know, why they happen, and just get into the nitty-gritty details of like what could have been, right? I'm just trying to figure out how to actually do it in terms of chapters and stuff like that, because there is a few books out there that I've dabbled in the past, and I don't want to follow that. But I'm excited because I managed to get 2 really big games on lockdown this week that are in the Star Wars universe. It isn't 1313, unfortunately. I do want to try and chase that up and get that as well, but one is of a bounty hunter, so I said that, and one is of a Star Wars game that's never even been announced, but it was cancelled. So wow. I'm just excited to continue this bizarre journey.
I hope, you know, there's something on the AP might appreciate this, on NBA Elite 11. The basketball video game that destroyed EA's basketball series. That was canceled because it was so bad.
Elite.
Yeah, something like that.
Very hard quotes.
Yeah. It's trying to find the balance as well, right? Of like what is a good story and what people actually want to read and all of that stuff. But I've got about 37, 38 games so far. Some with really good stories.
Dang, man. Nice.
Was one of those games, real before we get to Grant, Viscerals? You said Star Wars. Was one of them Viscerals?
No.
Or no? That's one you should look into. Amy Hennig's.
Yeah. I would like to get that as well, right?
The Frostbite mess.
Yeah.
Grant, how about you? You playing anything piquing your interest? Are you still in Tarkov because of wipe, or is that? And we'll touch on that later on the show, but or we can talk about it now before we move on. How much has that bothered you?
No, not at all. I haven't played PvP. I mean, so this thing is almost entirely contained to PvP. I've not played PvP in Tarkov for a year and a half because it's so bad. You know, it's and I'm bad at it, so that's another thing. Yeah, we can. We'll see if we get around to that later because it's not like super pressing. It's just a bunch of folk pissed off about the game they spend a lot of money and time on, you know. But for me, it's been a couple of things. So one has been what I now dub Old Faithful, Dying Light 2. So they just released like a week ago. Techland started doing these dockets again, which are like secret codes that you can find in everything. They've hidden them everywhere in like marketing materials, trailers, like promo images, like concept art. There are codes. If you see like what looks like a number or like a number and letter sequence, it's probably a docket. And you can go to the website, you can redeem it. There's a list of them on insidergaming.com. Like I'm keeping up to date with the new ones that get found. And all it is you're basically like pre-reserving stuff so that when the beast comes out, you have a bunch of stuff delivered to you. It's really cool. So that got me kind of back into Dying Light 2 again, post Summer Game Fest, where I spoke to Techland. And I've been playing that. Just, you know, I went for New Game Plus and I'm sprinting through that. But what I have also been playing for the last like 2 days, not a lot, because this is new ground for me. This is really new ground for me. Is a game that I cannot say a single word about. I can say what it is. I can't say anything about it. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. No, I can't say nothing. Can't say a word. I can just say that I'm playing it.
Sources tell me that it's a game.
It is a game. They would be correct in that your sources are accurate. It is a game, and it can be played by me now, by everyone else in like, what is it, like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or something?
Yeah.
I'm not reviewing it though. Well, maybe a little bit, you know, contributing. But Andy, our Andy is doing the review for that one because he is a hell of a lot better at Souls-like games than I am. Yeah. To the point where AP, right? I'm going to say this one thing because this is like preview stuff. AP, do you remember when you were at Summer Game Fest and you were playing?
I know where you're going.
And you dodged yourself off the scaffolding, and you felt I did the exact same.
No, you didn't. Oh my god,
same spot,
bro. Now you can empathize with me. You understand, right? That's hilarious.
That's me. And there's obviously a bunch coming out. Like we've got Mafia, the Old Country coming out. What's that? August 8th, I think, or something like that. So there'll be
it's coming soon, man. Wow.
That'll be one of the next ones for review on insidergaming.com. And then at the start of August, I also get a, funny enough, you know, the throwback to what I've just said, Dying Light the Beast. So I'll be hands-on with that from the start of August, ready for a review just before Gamescom, actually, because it comes out in Gamescom. During Gamescom, it comes out, which I'm so glad I've got it early because of that, because I will be far too busy with Gamescom to play Dying Light the Beast. And it is now my most anticipated game of 2025. So.
You know what I used to hate? When I was really heavy and like all I did in for my job was reviews, they'd send a review copy the Friday before a holiday weekend with embargo the Tuesday. So the holiday's a Monday, I'd get the game Friday, and then the embargo would lift Tuesday. I'm like, really? Guess who's not getting that done?
You gotta grind that.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah, but we all know.
Or you get them like the day before embargo.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
or day before release, or they don't give them to you at all before release. Fun times, fun times. But you know, every studio has their own thing. Yeah. We have to move on because we got some news to talk about. Before we get into that, this show every week, if you're new, covers some of the biggest stories that we feel for the past week to have a little discussion about. But on July 1st, we did launch. We have always had Insider Today shorts on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, but we have launched a long form of the show each and every day with all the details of that day's top stories of the past 24 hours. Myself and AP knock it out every single day. It drops around 4 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Notifications set to all so you don't miss when those dropped. The latest one dropped about a half hour ago before we're airing this. And it covers one of our topics for today a little bit, Subnautica 2's delay. But before we get into that, Nintendo wants to make faster games. In other news, as Grant said in our chat planning, Every studio on Earth would like to make faster games, and he's got a point. During Nintendo's shareholder meeting, Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa said that games are higher in cost now than ever. Yes, we know. And he added that the company does think it's possible to, quote, develop game software with shorter development periods that still offer consumers a sense of novelty. Yes, but he also mentioned it wasn't going to be all games. But the question is, can major games, like major first-party games, actually be built in shorter times now with how big they usually are? Or is it kind of a pipe dream just to say, like, hey, look what they might try and do, but not a promise?
Yeah, man, they can make them quicker, just they'll be worse. You know, I think that's the thing, right?
That's the funny thing. They already take forever and they still come out broken messes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way the thing the guy was saying, like it was kind of like a nothing burger in a way, because he was like, potentially we could do that. We believe they can be made faster. You know, it's not like this is something we are striving to achieve. But then like you say, I said that I think every studio on Earth envisions ways to make development faster and be more agile and speed things up and make things more lean, you know, all these corporate buzz terms and whatever. But it's like, what does faster mean? You know, like you could go like the Activision route or whatever, where they have something like 3,000 developers or something stupid working on a Call of Duty game just to churn out one a year, you know, or you could go the other route of like having, well, you already said like big broad open games. The next point was going to be you have less content in there, but obviously if you want to keep that scope, that's not going to happen. I don't know if Nintendo games, because you know I don't play Nintendo games, I don't know if they really have that kind of like enormity to them. Like I can't imagine making a Mario game would take as long as it would to make like a Grand Theft Auto. I just don't think that's the thing.
I mean, Mario Kart World took 8 years.
How?
They started in 2017. They started in 2017. Donkey Kong Bonanza has been in the works since, I think, 2018. Not around there.
I
guess yeah, it's subjective. Like, yeah, it's subjective, right? Like how many people are working on it? What's their
yeah.
You know, it's also a cultural thing as well. Like I don't know what the I'm assuming they're developed by studios in Japan. I don't know what their culture's like. Well, obviously the Western studios have always succumbed to like crunching and really, you know. So I don't know. But yeah, it's like, how do you look at it? More AI, more automation. You know, we've been in the weeds about that in recent episodes. It's just, I think him saying it is like no, it's like a no shit thing. You know, it's like everyone wants to do that. You know, how much can you really shave off? You know,
yeah, that's the question. But this comes, and Tom, I'll kind of point this to you. This kind of comes in a conversation we had towards the end of last week, and even off the air after we ended. Games can be made faster, but there's a certain like carrot that's dangling over that. Are you going to take it? And that's using AI in your development.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing, right? But I mean, this kind of goes back to what I was just talking about writing this book on cancelled video games. And this is why I'm also trying to be extremely careful in the way that I go about writing it, because it will become extremely repetitive in the fact that generally speaking, it comes down to mismanagement, the scope of the game just blowing way out, and you get scope creep and all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, like I did a tweet a couple of days ago saying the more that I learn about these AAA games, and that's referring back to the research that I'm doing for the book, and I'm finding these games that are in development for 6, 7, 8 years and still have another 2 to 3 years to go. I'm just scratching my head like this is just completely unsustainable. There was one particular game, I'm not going to say the company or whatever because the game's not been announced just yet, but they've been working on a game for 7 years and it still has about 3 to 4 years to go. And the whole company rides on this game being a success. And from this is the hard thing, right? From what I've seen of the game, I just don't see how they make that money back. And I can tell you when this game releases, that studio is going to lose a few hundred jobs are going to be lost, and that studio is probably just going to be a support studio moving forward. And this isn't a one-off story as well, right? Like I've learned about another game that's in development that's been announced, and it's been in development for the past 4 years, and that's doing terrible at the moment, and they're not even in pre-production for it yet. It's just mind-boggling.
I don't get it. Yeah. And to me, that comes down to maybe the talent isn't that good. I always avoid blaming the people behind the keyboards developing the games and animating and doing that. It's usually decisions made by those up here that feel like it that kills projects. I could be wrong. I know I'm wrong with a lot of them, but I don't know. Like if they really want to make games quicker, you're gonna have to staff people large, like staff people large. Increase your staff by a large amount. I don't know where that.
Me fail English. That's impossible. No, what is it he says?
Yeah, me fail English. That's impossible. I literally just had a brain fart and forgot 3 words of the sentence. My God. And this is the week. And you have to staff them up, but you also have to have realistic expectations. And we've kind of learned over the years that realistic expectations aren't something that studios and publishers are known for right now.
Yeah. What I will say as well before Albert jumps in is that, I mean, we touched on this with the Mind's Eye stuff, right? Is that I don't care about the best graphics in the world. And all the tech and all that kind. And to be honest, I don't really care for a 150-hour open world. I just want a good game, and I think with like
you want a new extraction shooter.
Well, we've got Marathon for that, so I'm pretty I'm pretty happy that that's coming out. So yeah, but like I don't know. I think we've said this multiple times on multiple shows that we're seeing these smaller games time and time again be extremely successful. And I think that's all that ultimately people want is just a good game.
Yeah, man. Look at the news that came out. I think it was yesterday. I don't know if it came out last night. I wrote it this morning or whatever. Stardew Valley, made by one guy 10 years ago, and is now the highest rated game on Steam out of like 100,000 games or something ridiculous. Like it is the best rated game on the entire platform officially. And that's just like you just walk around chopping plants and going in caves and shit,
getting married, living a life.
Chilling, yeah.
And that's
there's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I'm down playing it. There's a lot more. There's a lot more in it.
I had to stop. I played that game heavily the first 2 years, and I had to stop myself because it got to the point where I wasn't playing the games I needed to play for work.
Yeah,
like,
see,
I'm getting in trouble by my bosses at the time. Like, hey, you were supposed to have this preview. Shit, I forgot.
It's charming visuals, but it's not like it's not going to be winning awards for them anytime soon. But that's the perfect example. Look at something like Vampire Survivors. Incredible game, wins BAFTA awards, but it's as visuals go. Yeah, that's it, man.
What do you think, AP?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, maybe for Nintendo to make this statement's kind of interesting. A lot of their games, their first party games. I think Grant made the point. I think it was either Grant or Tom made the point. Their games aren't huge like the other third-party games are, right? I mean, they're not making games that are like, 60 hours long like Square's going on with Final Fantasy, right? So, if you're looking at it from that perspective, okay, yeah, I could see where you're coming from, Nintendo. But, if you're going to be making games that are going to be done quicker, then you kind of think about, okay, so what's the quality of this game going to look like, right? Are we going to have a lot more updates along the way for it after it's released? And then if you look at it from that standpoint, then you ask yourself, okay, is the game actually really done then if you're releasing updates for it after it's been released? I don't know, it just kind of seems mind-boggling and kind of counterproductive to me. I don't know. I get what they're saying. You want to release the games quicker because they're in development for years, like Tom's been was mentioning earlier. But then at the same time, it's like you don't want to have games that are released too early and they're just like broken, they're not complete.
My problem though becomes the fact that you don't want that, but you get games that still take this long that still release broken and incomplete.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Sometimes they just. I mean, we spoke about it before when we were talking about the like the delay window or whatever with GTA, where people were talking about GTA has this chokehold on the industry where people like can't afford to have it delayed to then have to delay their own timeline because they just can't go another 6 months, another 12 months or whatever. They have to release, you know. I think you get that as well. Some studios, they don't have the longevity, they don't have the funding to go longer, so they just have no choice but to push them out. You know, look at we've mentioned it a few times, La Chimera from earlier this year, where it launched in such a bad state they pulled it back off the market and were like, no, we're gonna have to go with early access because it's just not good enough. But we have to get it out the door, you know. And that's it. It's make or break, really, isn't it? Either we don't release it or we release it broken. Which one would you rather do? You know.
Yeah.
Before games come out and they get patched up, you know, it's like we'll release it broken and fixed it. That has a track record. People have done that and succeeded. So why can't we?
They're like, we got to make money too, man. Sorry, it's out, you know. Yeah.
That's why early access exists. Before we move on, a reminder: if you have questions, get them in. We will answer them depending on what they are towards the end of the show, or if they're relevant to the topic at hand. If you want to guarantee your question gets answered when you submit it, consider leaving a super chat. You never have to. We'll never paywall this show, but it does help us continue with what we are doing. Topic number 2. It seems every week there's something with Xbox, and this week it's Xbox Game Pass and that debate that continues to rage, whether or not it's not only killing the game industry, but is it profitable for Microsoft? We had late last week or a few days ago, Arkane Studios founder branding Xbox Game Pass as unsustainable and damaging. Story is will be in the link in the description below. You can check it out at Insider Gaming. But Raphael Colantonio, I always struggle on his last name, but it's Colantonio, the founder of Arkane Studios, said that he thinks in a post on social media, Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging the industry for a decade, subsidized by Microsoft's, quote, infinite money. But at the same point, reality has to hit. I don't think Game Pass can coexist with other models. They'll either kill everyone else or give up. And then Michael Dowse, Larian Studios publishing director, asked a very logical question. What happens when all the money runs out? And that's the biggest concern he's heard of in his network, and one of the main economic reasons people haven't shifted to that business model. That was followed up by a report from Christopher Dring saying that he asked about Xbox Game Pass's, profitability, and that he was told it was profitable when it comes when talking to things about fees paid to third parties, marketing, service costs, and that nature, but then mentioned that no first-party costs were included in that claim, leading to belief that it's not profitable when you put in development costs and the cannibalized sales of first-party Xbox titles. Only for them to retract it hours later, saying that Game Pass is
2 days later, actually. Sorry.
How far was it?
2 days later, I think. 36 hours, yeah.
Oh, for some reason I thought it was a lot quicker than that. Either way, he retracts it, saying, no, Game Pass actually, even with that in mind, yeah, you're right. It is about 2 days later. Game Pass is profitable. So what is it?
Like the original information was like 18 months old or something he referenced as well, wasn't it? I think that was something that he said.
Over 18 months ago. And then if you but the thing is, and we can actually talk about that now, if it's 18 months old, you probably should have clarified that in your original thing.
Leaving me to write it up.
I know, just for then right after an hour after your story goes up.
It was.
It the clarification comes up. So Xbox, is it actually profitable, and do you think it's hurting the game industry? Tom, it's been a while since we heard from you.
I have a pretty hot take on this.
Let's go.
Whoa.
Buckle up.
And it's I don't care. That's because
but we hate Xbox here at Insider Gaming.
I know, right?
That's right.
That's why we're at war with those fellas from that other site constantly.
Yeah, I think the reality is that all this happened just because of the Microsoft layoffs happened. So then everyone was kicking off about, just, I don't know, like punching a guy when he's down, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think the reality is that there's been another, I don't know, 10,000 layoffs this year that wasn't connected to the Game Pass. 20,000 last year that wasn't connected to Game Pass. Yeah. I think the reality is that the industry is just struggling, right? And yeah, I don't know, like
cussing again.
Yeah, I mean, you
get emotional,
before, man.
You get but that's the F-bomb is different. Like you tell passionate, man. You say you don't care, but you're passionate about this stuff, man.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I am, because I don't know, like I just feel like the whole industry in general is struggling, and it feels more like kicking someone while they're down kind of deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of my my
I mean, personally, I don't like the Game Pass. I get the Game Pass idea. I 100% get it. I still don't like it.
Yeah, but like, sorry to like interrupt, but I think as well the reality is, and not a lot of people speak on this, is the fact that probably hundreds of games wouldn't have existed without Game Pass as well. Like they interject,
or at least at a profile level that they would, you know.
Yeah, like Game Pass works is that essentially they fund either the whole game, or you know, that they come in at a stage where they need to interject a lot of money to get the game on Game Pass. And without Game Pass, I'm not saying we would have seen more layoffs, but we would have definitely seen a lot of layoffs, because
I think a lot more games wouldn't have come out.
Yeah, which would have meant more layoffs, right? So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm. It's just, I don't know. Like, I know we cover, like, for example, with the Chris tweets and stuff, we covered that, which is fine because that's our job at the end of the day. But I just feel like certain people are just kicking them while they're down, and I don't know. Like,
I kind of align with what you're saying there, actually, because before we come in, you know, I get my notes, I get my stuff squared away, and I'm like, how do I feel about the Game Pass debate? And what you said rings true. Maybe I don't care, because it's like, it's not really my concern whether it's profitable or not for Microsoft. All I care about as a consumer is the fact I'm getting a kick-ass service, right? I've been a loyal, and this is for, you know, for the people that say we don't like Xbox or whatever. That's rubbish, right?
Don't worry, we'll say that. But if we say something about PlayStation,
we don't like
such a PlayStation hater yesterday just because I chose to use a PS5 and a damn thumbnail about video game hardware sales falling, despite the PS5, you know, being the one that's up 3% year over year for me. I got, you know, I'm a PlayStation hater. The only console I own.
I can't be an Xbox. I have had an unbroken Xbox Live into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription since I think 2008. Unbroken for that amount of time. Like, I've never left Xbox, right? So for me, Game Pass is great. I get to play these games day one that come out. Don't have to pay any extra for them. I get to play games that I probably wouldn't have if I'd had to pay for them, like standalone. You know, you get this like fresh catalog that is updating pretty regularly with some good stuff. There's some really surprising things that get added. You know, I mean, it's the same on the other side of the water with PlayStation Plus. I've got that too, but for Game Pass, it's like, okay, cool. So maybe it's not profitable because they're spending so much making the games that go on it, but that's their problem. That's their concern. I'm sure as a business, Microsoft looks at, you know, the P&L and whatnot and says that, okay, we might be losing a bit of money on Game Pass, but we're making that up in our cloud computing or something like that. And they probably don't, you know, they look at it from a bigger picture perspective. So what if it doesn't make them a lot of money? Who cares? You know, we reap the benefits as consumers, and that's where the buck should stop, really. Why do we care?
My biggest problem.
Like, how many subscribers have they got now? Like 30-something million.
35 million. But the subscribers,
good, you know?
It's good, but it's not where they expected it to be. And you have to remember, they also count all of the Xbox Live members that they converted to Xbox Game Pass when they did that conversion.
They're still paying for it, right? You know?
Yeah, but they're not to them. They're just Xbox Live members at the end of the day. They're not.
They're
only Game Pass.
Buy into the. Yeah, I mean, that's me. Then that's me. I'm that. You know. There's
Well, no, you
millions
bought
of them.
to upgrade to Ultimate. I'm talking about the people who haven't paid to upgrade, but when they changed it from Xbox Live Gold to Xbox Game Pass
no,
Core,
they must have all,
they
must all
became
be-
Game Pass subscribers technically.
Yeah, because they had that thing where it's like, we'll convert the time you've got outstanding into Game Pass time, and I mean, that must have all been gone years ago now, because those transfers happened like 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
It only happened like 2 years ago.
Oh, did
Was
it?
it 2 years?
Yeah,
No. I
IG
feel
was
like-
around when they converted Game Pass Gold or Xbox Live to Game Pass Core. IG was around.
Oh my God, you're right.
Because I
man.
wrote the
Xbox
story.
Live Gold was discontinued on September 14th, 2023, and replaced by Xbox Game Pass Core.
Yeah,
I feel like it was years.
so it hasn't even been
does feel like
4
it's been
years.
like
You
5
know
years.
what I'm probably thinking of? I'm probably getting confused because I'm thinking of the inception of
Game
Game
Pass
Pass.
itself.
That's
I
probably
got
when
you.
I'm thinking. Because for me, that was like, I am now on this. Xbox Live Gold is not a thing for me anymore.
Yeah.
AP,
makes
what do you
sense.
think of Game Pass? Are you an Xbot or do you hate them so much?
I hate them so
Because
much.
there's only two sides of the coin. You can't just be like
No, you can't. There's no middle ground. Yeah,
No,
you're either
you
one
can't.
or
You
the
can't.
other.
you get yelled at.
No, I've dabbled with Xbox. Yeah, oh my God, I can't speak. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate multiple times. I've had it, unsubscribe, subscribe, unsubscribe. For consumer, it's great. I think it's fantastic. There's a lot of games that I would have never, dabbled into. I think it's fantastic. But from a corporate standpoint, there's no way that they're getting the return that, these publishers are getting the return that they would expect to have, right? Because, you have these games on Game Pass, the price is obviously a lot more, lot less for consumers to play all of these games. Huge library, of course. Like I said, for consumers, it's great. For developers, publishers, not so much. I mean, think about it, man. PlayStation, they don't have anything like this. Wasn't there a report earlier, was it last week, 2 weeks ago, that said PlayStation reiterated that they would not be dabbling into anything like this?
Yeah, but
I mean,
they're happy, like they're making money.
Yep.
They're raising prices just as much as Xbox is, but Xbox at
PlayStation
least
Plus is
gives
good
you.
too.
See,
PlayStation Plus is real good because
I,
it lumps in other stuff too. Like they use the Sony movie service as well, so you get that chucked in too, which is really cool.
I had the highest tier of PlayStation Plus, and then as soon as they raised the price to like near $200 for the year, immediately canceled it. Immediately,
Oh, yeah, they get expensive.
Yeah,
it's just so now I'm on the $80 base tier, and that's solely because of playing like Madden and stuff like that with friends. Like that's the only reason I still have it.
I think that's what I have too, just a base tier. I pay monthly though, but I should probably switch to yearly, probably save a lot more money, but yeah.
Topic number 3. We do have to move on. Subnautica 2. This not the biggest game in the world, but it's become so drama filled it was worth bringing up. Yesterday, a week ago, backstory, July 2nd, 3 of the games of the studio's founders were let go. 2 of which, Charlie Cleveland, Max McGuire, and then their CEO Ted Gill, all let go completely out of the blue. A week later, yesterday, July 9th, it was reported by Jason Schreier that the game was going to be delayed into 2026. And it just so happened it's months before a planned $250 million payout to developers based on financial targets for 2025. So that's pushed. Games delayed, out. Today, so now they're getting all this type of backlash. About 40 minutes before we go on the air, Krafton sends out an email and a press release scathing and ripping into former leadership to explain why they were fired and what was going on. So Subnautica 2 was originally planned for an early access launch in early 2024, but the timeline has been significantly delayed because according to Krafton, game's publisher, former leadership, Charlie Cleveland, Max McGuire, Ted Gill, abandoned the responsibilities entrusted to them. They basically just said they didn't do their jobs. In particular, following the failure of Moonbreaker, Krafton asked Charlie to devote himself to the development of Subnautica 2. However, instead of participating in the game's development, he chose to focus on a personal film project. The statement then continued that Krafton believes
Threat
that
level midnight.
the absence of core leadership has resulted in repeated confusion in direction and significant delays in the overall project. Then they brought up the $250 million payout that was never publicly talked about until today by them. And they said they had dedicated 90% of that earnout to the 3 former executives, and that the payout was set, quote, with the expectation there would be they would demonstrate leadership and active involvement in the development of the game. So they let them go. They delayed the game, and then they put out more stories at insidergaming.com about what they're going to do with the staff and make sure they're all paid fairly and things like that.
Man.
Bro,
This story went from, okay, game got delayed, people got fired, they got upset about it, to scorched earth by the publisher.
Yeah,
and Krafton says that the decision to let them go, they said yesterday, had nothing to do with money. They bring up the money today a little bit, but then they said, I mean, they kind of doubled down on our decision had nothing to do with money. It had to do with the people not doing their jobs. But it's also, I don't know, it's hard for me to believe them. But I've never seen a publisher come out and rip into former leadership of a studio's founders.
You know, I think everyone's missing one of the biggest points here, and that's the, I don't know the ins and outs of it, the terms of it, because I've not looked into it too much, but that's that Krafton was going to give what I understand to be 3 or 4 people $250 million.
90% of it was going to go to them, to 3 people, and then the other 10% was going to be divvied out.
This is what I'm saying.
Still going to be 5 to 6 figures.
This is what I'm saying.
People, but yeah,
because they said it's like 100 people in the studio, so they would have got like. I don't get how an average developer, not saying, you know, I'm not bagging on them or anything. How the average developer working on a game, I think the first game sold like 6 or 7 million copies. I don't get how they look at it and go, you know what, the one that you're developing now. Not many people are really too fussed about it, but we will give you $250 million if you do your job. If someone offers me a cut of $250 million to do my job, I'm 24/7 white hot on that bitch. Like, how do you look $250 million in the face and go, no, I'm going to go make a movie instead? How do you do that? I can't understand why Krafton thought so much money would need to be thrown at these guys. How are more people not really perplexed about these people getting this much? Like, I have never. It's flummoxing me through and through. I am gobsmacked.
So there is the 90% of that 250 going to the executives, but according to Schreier's report, they were planning on giving even more of that 10%. They were going to give it to the developers. But that's again, well, they said they were going to. Will they? Who knows until it happens. Now it won't happen.
Biggest games in the world wouldn't get bonuses like that. I don't even get it.
Molly's got a good point. This is kind of how I feel too.
Yeah, man.
Yep. I've not followed this too much because, like you said, the big update happened 40 minutes before this went live. But has any, I don't want to say normal developers, but like on the ground developers actually spoken out about this as well?
Yeah, I'd be interested to see.
No, I have reached out to developers at the studio anonymously. Yeah. To not me anonymously, they know who I am, but you know, I've reached out to people at the studio. I'm hoping to hear back to kind of get what the internal message was. We'll see if I get anything out of it.
Yeah, I think ultimately until some actual developers come out and speak out, there's hardly much to say on this, because to me, with Schreier's reporting, he said that he's basically seen the deal, right? He's seen the contract and all of that kind of stuff. So he's seen what people are going to get paid, which to me suggests that it's probably one of those 3 executives that sent him all of that stuff, you know.
They are disgruntled.
Yeah, so because they're disgruntled because they've just lost out on what 60, 70 million.
Yeah, Schreier says that
movies.
Schreier says that 10% or up to 225 million was due to be paid out to 40 staff members.
Yeah.
So
those
25 million
get...
divided by 40, depending on seniority and whatever.
That's a large number.
Get it, man.
Yeah. So those going to get...
Subnautica 2 is not going to...
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
There's probably going to be a lot more to come out about this.
Yeah.
Maybe because there is only 40 developers, it might take a while because, I mean, at the end of the day, somebody does speak out, and there's a pool of 40 people. It's either very easy to find the person, or they can ultimately just, let go of the entire team, I guess, at some point. But yeah, to Grant's point, the number seems ridiculous. Like
they're gonna get killed, man. If someone lost me a cut of 250 million because they were messing around with their iPhone trying to get home movie, you'd be like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, but I'm of the same opinion. When I saw the original report and I put it in our Discord, like I had to double take because I was like, 250 million bonus, because they already got, I think we got 500 million right from the
acquisition.
Initials, for the acquisition,
which makes sense. You're buying a studio. You're gonna,
I mean, like I guess the 250 would be tied to that acquisition.
They said it was performance based. It was, you've got to meet your so maybe the sales target was like, then you've got to sell like 20 million copies or something.
This amount, Oren in the chat says this amount of money usually comes with a lot of strings attached. I can only imagine. I've never been in a company like that, like in my development career, where they were tying like financial goals to extra payouts. It was basically just, you're here, work on the software, get it working, make your clients happy. But I can't imagine like what metrics you need to hit to get that type of money.
I've just got a feeling a lot more is going to come out about this. To me, it seems like it's Krafton trying to save face a little bit, but maybe there's a lot of truth to that. But one of the executives has reached out to Schreier with all that documentation, and obviously he's got a report on it, right? Because it's a huge story. But I don't know. Like it seems to me there's a lot of gray area here.
And we know at least one of them thinks, despite the decision to delay, Charlie Cleveland, one of the co-founders who they threw under the bus, he did come out a few days ago and said the team felt that the game was ready for early access. What was weird to me is in their statement, Krafton said this was about delivering a quote complete experience for players, and I'm sitting there going, you're launching an early access. That's kind of that's contradictory.
I think they backed that up by saying that even for early access it weren't good. I think that's what they kind of
that's what they doubled down on. But it was weird. I agree. I think something more is going to come out. It's just from who, and hopefully they get some of the people, maybe the ones who aren't getting some of that money but know about it.
Yeah, it just takes one developer,
want to get out,
right?
Reach out to me.
Well, I don't. Wait, I mean, it does take one developer, but I mean, it takes probably 2 or 3 developers to come out for it to be corroborated, effectively, to come out and say, well, the game was in a really shit state, or it was doing really, like, it was going along fine, and then we'll kind of get our answer. But it seems like it's good versus evil, so to speak, at the moment.
And with that, it's time to move on to the next segment for the stories that didn't warrant a full discussion, but worth talking about. The bite-sized bits. I love that name. Again, I will always throw credit to Grant, and I can never remember his name.
So
Bruce.
Bruce's bite-sized bits.
For that.
Sounds a bit weird, actually, in retrospect. But...
Yeah, it sounds like he's got a personal problem. But... There's a couple topics on here. One I was teasing on social media that people aren't going to be happy about, but then we'll start with one that people might be happy about. Reports circulating that there are multiple Fallout projects in development at Bethesda, including the one everybody's been talking about. We know they've been working on Fallout 3. That was known and kind of that was revealed during Microsoft's FTC court case while they were trying to finalize their purchase of Activision. Mm-hmm. But Fallout 3. But what else do you think, Grant? You're the big one on Fallout. What else do you think could possibly be in development if it's multiple projects? Do you think they've been working on Fallout 5? Because it's really hard to think they haven't been.
No, man. I mean, saying it is almost like going back to the Shuntaro bit earlier on. It's like, well, it's kind of obvious, really, isn't it? Think of how much of a cash cow Fallout is, and how much hype. You do anything Fallout related, it seems like it pops. Look at the TV show, look at the growth that had. So that's one thing to fall back on, right? So but Fallout 3 Remastered has been the thing now for a good couple of years since the FTC leak. That leaked like the name, the project. That was it. We haven't seen or heard anything since. But it's a safe bet, right? Because look at the success they had with Oblivion Remastered. They've got more of that up their sleeve easily. I think there's something to do with New Vegas because it would make sense to coincide with the show being set in New Vegas, show being immensely popular for both Amazon and Bethesda. Do something to do with New Vegas, whether they do like some like a remaster, anything like that, right? They bring something up, they do something. Oh, here you go, you get it packaged, all the DLCs, whatever. I don't know, but so you could do something with that. There were people joking like, oh, maybe it's Fallout Shelter 2 or something, because that just surpassed its 10th anniversary, right? I think it was a couple of weeks back. It went past 10 years. And they're like, maybe it's a Fallout Shelter 2. But Fallout 5 is obviously the big one everyone's after, and it's the one that no one's going to get because I think it's honestly, we're looking 2030 and beyond for that because there's just so much to come yet. There's so much
depressing.
to come, there's so much. Like you've got Starfield is obviously what is happening with Starfield. No one has a clue. They said one expansion a year, and where's the second expansion? It's bizarre what they've done with that game.
Gamescom, baby.
Maybe, but
Maybe.
it's not the track record. So they would have to have something really impressive to show at Gamescom for people to like forgive that it's been. We knew about Shattered Space before the game came out in 2023. We have no idea what the second expansion looks like. It's so against their track record and promises. It's unbelievable. But that's a moot point because they've got that. They've got Elder Scrolls 6 to get through as well. Whatever expansions come after that. And then they can start really, getting their teeth into Fallout 5. So I'm thinking like 2030 onwards. So we'll see. Maybe they'll do a Fallout 76 too. Something, I don't know.
Fallout 76 to Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. Exactly, something like that. So that's probably what's coming in. Like it's a safe bet. It's like the safest bet you could make that something is to do with Fallout is happening at Bethesda. That's like saying Activision's working on a new Call of Duty. It's just, I think it's probably the safest thing you could ever say in your life. So
yeah,
Giffy, thank you for the $5 super chat. I'm ready for some mac and cheese without the cheese. I'm gonna just assume you're doing a Mike Tyson's Punch Out reference, even though I know you're not.
Yeah,
Grant,
go ahead, Tom.
No, go on.
I was just gonna say, I remember at Summer Game Fest, whenever you were talking to the guys, whenever they had the booth for for Gone Fishing, you were trying to get a little bit out of them there. They were kind of tight-lipped, right? I mean, it just seemed like there's something going on, but
I did say at the end, I was like, "You guys ready for the Fallout 3 remastered reveal of the thing tomorrow?" And they were like, "The what reveal? Like, is that something we're working on?" And like their poker faces are not good, man. Like they literally looked at each other and were like, "We're not working on that, are we?" But then also I was talking about like one of my questions was a hypothetical. If you guys could do absolutely anything with the franchise, what would you do? What would the next game look like? Where would you take it? Like your wildest dreams. They were like, we've got lots of ideas, but nothing that we're willing to talk about. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. They'll give away the blueprints and that, but there are projects. I'll back it up. I'll corroborate it. There are multiple projects, multiple Fallout projects being developed.
Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, it's Captain Obvious territory, right?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure where this rumor came from, but like I did hear something pretty interesting, and I mean, like you'll just have to tell me what you think on this, but it was that they wasn't going to do New Vegas 2 because Todd Howard was disgruntled by the fact that he didn't work on the first one.
I could see that. I could see that being an ego thing.
Yeah, and like
he didn't work on the best Fallout game.
Yeah,
period.
that's
what a
why
coincidence.
Yeah,
that's
like
why he's
pissed off.
proper.
Everyone raves
pissed.
about
yeah.
That's probably why he. I mean, oh wait, no, sorry, I was about to get him confused with Neil Druckmann. I was about to say that's probably why he stepped away from the TV show. Now it's in New Vegas, but that was Druckmann coming away from The Last of Us. So that's
imagine the pettiness.
What do
going
you...
to New Vegas? I don't want part of it no more.
Yeah, I can't advise you anymore because I didn't contribute to that one. I know nothing. That's it. He moves off.
But do you reckon we'll get a New Vegas remaster instead?
We could do. It would probably, when you're looking at like the split between that and Fallout 3, which would pop more? I honestly don't know, because Fallout New Vegas has this like cult following where just so many people, like, I think it is placed up on a pedestal. It is overhyped a bit overrated. But Fallout 3 is that game where that was the entry point for so many people into the Fallout series.
It's like GTA 3.
Exactly. It's one of those
games that that was the
first
base
3D
of
one. Yeah, that's it. Well, not the first, but it had such a it was so important.
The first modern Fallout, you can say.
It was when they went action RPG.
Yeah, what I like to see, to be honest, would I love to see a new tactical Fallout game? Yes, but that's because I am so big into tactical games that I do like going back and playing the first 2 Fallouts every now and then. I would love it. Bite size number 2. How do you set up your lighting? Oren wants to know.
There's nothing special. I have no lights behind me. I have like a Bluetoothy controlled light here, and then I have a Logitech Litra like light behind the camera. That's it. It helps. I've got a Logitech Brio, so I've got like a 4K camera. That probably helps, but nothing special. Nothing special.
Bite-sized bit number 3, technically now. Tarkov. People aren't happy about the wipe, Grant. This is you again. I'm throwing it to you.
When are they, man? You know what? Tarkov is in a really weird spot right now because it should be like everyone who plays it should be more stoked than ever because it's about to hit 1.0. The wipe that just happened yesterday should be the last wipe in the traditional format anyway. And the game is preparing to move out of 10 years of beta. And it's going to be the most transformative thing to happen to the game since ever. And no one likes it because they just pushed out this wipe. It's the first time they've done this. It's a hardcore wipe. So if you don't know about Escape from Tarkov, it's pretty challenging already, right? But the hardcore wipe did a bunch of changes. Like it locked out some of the trader mechanics. The flea market, which is like the peer-to-peer trading platforms, is not a thing. AI is tougher. You can't load into some maps. You can only like do what's called a transition, which is where you go into one map and then you make your way into the other one. Bosses are a 100% spawn rate. And all these things that people are like, it's made it really challenging, like a final hurrah. But it was done in such a way that people they're not really on board with it. Like just before it dropped, they came out with a bunch of last minute updates where they said, oh, all the early game quests are locked out. You can't do quests right now. Insurance. So when you go into a raid, you potentially could lose everything you've taken in with you unless you insure it. Insurance, like the cost difference was like 10 times more expensive. So it just didn't really make much sense. You could people were showing that you could sell like this really great gun and the money that you get back for it would be the equivalent of like you could now go buy a pack of crackers or something. And the economy was all screwed up. They flip-flopped on some of those changes within 24 hours and they said, oh, we said it was going to be temporary. Because everyone was like, no, this is the worst thing you've ever done. And it's just bizarre. Like if you look at the Twitch stats, Tarkov wipe is usually a big thing. It's usually the biggest deal for the community because it's like everyone's on level pegging. Everything gets reset. It's the start of a new day, new journey. And usually you'll see Tarkov top Twitch, 300, 400,000 viewers. They get a Twitch drops campaign going. It's a big hoo-ha, right? This is the lowest peak viewership we've had at a wipe since I think literally probably ever, because pre-2019, it popped off around 2018, 2019, and that's when Tarkov started to grow. But it's dead. Like there's like no one really watching it. There's no campaign going on. They're not putting anything into it. And it's like, it's the worst thing they've done, It's weird. It's alienated anyone that's not some like sweaty streamer that puts 20 hours a day into it. If you're just a run-of-the-mill guy who wants to get on and play a little bit of Tarkov with his friends, you are screwed now. You literally can't. It's so weird. And this is how they want to send their game out into 1.0.
I'm kind of happy about a year and a half at this point, 2 years ago, I stopped playing entirely.
No, I'm PvE.
I've really tried to get back into it. Well, I don't have the PvE because I refuse to pay extra for a mode that should be included in a game.
Yeah. That's what people are saying. It's like a sales tactic to push people into buying PvE before they get ready for 1.0 because like the only way to not take part in the hardcore stuff is to play PvE because PvE isn't subjected to the hardcore mechanics. Funny
Yeah.
that, isn't it? You know, the thing that you have to pay for doesn't get the thing that's fucking everyone off. Funny
Yeah.
that how that works, you know?
Wow.
If I want to play a game, I hit the point where if I want to play a game like that, I will play Arena Breakout or I'll play Gray Zone. Like that's it. I
Yeah,
can
man,
get my
Gray Zone,
fix from
that's it.
those two games. Like Gray Zone has done a lot to come better,
Shout out, Rick.
to become better. And then Arena Breakout, I've enjoyed when I do play it. I don't play it a lot, but if I get into those moods, sometimes I'll even load up the Division 2. And if I really want to just screw around and and mess with it there. Last on the bite-sized bits, this one is going to upset a certain fan base of American football.
Not American soccer, American football.
American soccer is redundant. I have been told by those with knowledge close to the talks and whatnot, EA and the NFL have an agreement in place on a new licensing deal that will keep the rights for the NFL with EA for years to come, is what I was told. I did ask if this was like 100% finalized, and I was told that it's basically all but done. There's some things that need to be cleared up before it become an official, but one of the sources said they assume that an official announcement will be made before the end of the year, if not sooner, but before the end of the year, they would assume a deal, knowing they're going into the final year of it. As far as the terms of the deal, I was told multiple years, and that it was for, quote, more money in the history of the league's gaming license, which, not surprising. Every new deal is always going to be worth more, especially with the NFL being as big.
Funny how that works.
But the deal's all but done. One thing that was surprising to me that I got confirmation on this morning, people always assume it's EA going for the for the exclusivity. It's not. With this negotiation, EA was actually looking to save a bit of money by giving up exclusive rights.
Really?
But the NFL knows exclusive rights gets more money, and they kind of pushed it, and they came to an agreement, it seems. So there we have it. Madden is sticking around for a while.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really surprise me at the end of the day. It would have been
it
nice
makes
to
money hand over fist.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been nice to see another player maybe come into the fray. It's almost like the NFL's just thinking, if it ain't broke, then don't fix it. Obviously it's making us, tons of money. So why would we, work with a different publisher, right?
And then like everybody was talking about, like, well, I hope like everybody with 2K.
Mm-hmm.
2K to me has done so much bad with the NBA franchise that I wouldn't want to see what they would do with the NFL one. I haven't touched an NBA game in 3 years. Used to be my favorite game to get every year, but they've done so much on the micro. They've turned basketball into a casino. It is a legitimate casino. And it's just not worth it. So there we go. Madden sticking around, deal pretty agreements in place, and it's gonna be fun stuff. Also, before we start signing off, a quick reminder: Insider Gaming Developer Spotlight. We've dropped 2 episodes back-to-back days. Yesterday, I sat down with, if you're into different football games, the creator of Axis Football 26, the founder of Axis Games, Danny Jugan. Today, we dropped my interview with Mike Herman of Retrosoft Studios for Retromania Wrestling, announcing we were the first outlet to announce that Macho Man Randy Savage, oh yeah, dig it, the cream rises to the top. Was joining the game in September as DLC, and that's a big deal for a small indie game.
I love the video. Brother. I love the video of him where they do his interview, but all it is his inhales.
I knew exactly what you were talking about, and that's just because I got so much energy with the macho madness that it's going to be coming to the top. So there's that at Insider Gaming. Also, tomorrow, Friday, if you're listening to this, it's happening on Friday, early next week. I am sitting down. I believe we are the first outlet to get a major interview regarding NASCAR 25, and that is on my follower base is huge. And first NASCAR game since the abysmal NASCAR Ignition 21 4 years ago. So it's going. It's gonna be a big one. So this we're gonna be talking everything from the development of the game to all these maybe some unannounced things will be talked. So that's all in the pipeline. But as we wind down, Tom, do you have anything coming up?
Nope.
Nope, nothing.
Short and sweet. Damn.
I'm just cooking in the background. Don't you worry what I'm doing.
Everybody worries about what you're doing because according to everybody on social media, Insider Gaming is Tom, and Tom is Insider Gaming, and there's no one else who works for us.
All right.
There's no one. Grant, AP, and myself, we're not even really here. We're all actually AI. Tom put in prompts.
Yeah, I do Insider today. I translate everything into Portuguese.
It's like that theory. It's like that theory. You ever hear that theory about Friends, with the one with Phoebe? You know what I'm on about? Where like no one was real, and she was like imagining the thing the whole time. That's what it's like with Tom, man. He's on the outside looking in, imagining what it'd be like to be our friends. You know.
Grant, you have any? I mean, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but you have anything big coming up you want to share?
Do I?
I don't know. You talked about your reviews coming, man.
Oh yeah, no, we got those. Yeah, games reviews stuff.
Else coming?
Yeah, no, I mean, Gamescom's the next big thing, isn't it? Really, you know, there's nothing that I can think of. You've got me thinking there's something that I should be remembering now. What was it supposed to be? What am I doing?
Wu Chang.
Oh, I'm not reviewing that. I'm just enjoying it. No, I'm not enjoying it. Oh no, wait, no.
Get it up on Reddit.
Oh no! Grant Taylor-Hill. I'm enjoying Wu Chang.
That's a rock and a hard place. That's a rock and a hard. I said a walk and a hard place. That could be misconstrued. No, literally, like I'm not going to say anything about that one. Yeah, there's stuff. There's
why?
There's
because
a few.
it's bad or because it's good?
Because I can't, man. No, there's a few.
Not breaking it, dude. It's so tough.
I think before Gamescom, there's like 3 or 4 games that need to be reviewed, and they're all like absolute bangers. So there's a lot to keep an eye out for. All be video reviews, all be text reviews, the whole shebang. You know.
Yeah, buddy. Big things happening at IG on the video front too. AP, what do you got going on? Anything fun?
Oh man, all kinds of stuff, man. Obviously, me and you have been working really hard on Insider Today long form. Been locking that in. Seems like the viewers are really enjoying that, man. I mean, my goodness,
shout out to Joe for those turnaround edits.
Yeah, good stuff on that. Absolutely, he's been killing it on that. And I think we had the first one hit over 1,000 views the other day. Today, I should say, which is great. Have another one that's well on the way, and I think at least maybe one more that might hit it too. So, yeah, things are looking up on that. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you're enjoying the long form as well as the short form, of course. And yeah, plenty more to come.
And with that, it's time to wrap up for Insider Gaming Weekly. Of course, you can subscribe to us. Make sure you have notifications if you're on the YouTube so you never miss anything. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a rating, leave your comments. It helps spread the show. Leave a like and comment in the videos below. Share it on social media wherever you can. You can follow us on Twitter at Insider Gaming IG. Blue Sky, insider-gaming.com. Officially verified there so you know it's the legit Insider Gaming. You can find me at Mike Straw Media, Grant at Newcov_, AP at Weekly Wrap Up. Tom, look for the snowmobile. AP, as always, I'm not going to steal your thunder. Take it away.
You know it. For Mike, Tom, and Grant, I am, of course, your host with the most A to the P, Albert Perkins, and we will see you on the inside.